Hello, and welcome to the Regen Racing Podcast. I'm Dino.
And I'm Nathan.
Welcome, Nath, back again.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, episode 3 now, and we've got a little bit of news, but it's generally a pretty slow news week, isn't it?
Yeah, not a lot's happened since Berlin, but we're looking forward to in Formula E we're looking forward to the Zurich race coming up, and there's been a wee bit of news about a few other electric motorsport happenings as well.
Yeah, there has been. So electric go-karts and something called electric GT Virgil. So
yeah,
we'll get into that a bit later on in the podcast. A couple of podcasts ago, I didn't actually introduce myself or tell the listeners anything about myself or what I do or how many podcasts I listen to a week. So I thought I'd just go through that. So I'm a sales rep for a joinery firm, and so I travel quite a bit for work. Podcasts, I'm always listening to podcasts, and I think you are too, aren't you, Nath?
Yeah, I don't travel as much for work as you do, so I don't have quite as much uninterrupted listening time. But still would like to get in a few cheeky podcasts sitting in the office. Yeah,
so I just thought, it would be a good idea to run through some. So at the moment, I'm listening to the Super License F1 and the Pit Lane podcast. I also, really enjoy 99% Invisible, which I think you got me into.
One. Yeah.
Roman Mars.
It's such beautiful listening.
It is. The production values, spot on.
Yeah, and even if you aren't a fan of architecture or design, it's just fascinating storytelling as well.
Yeah, I think the last one was on chairs. Now, the listeners may be thinking, why is a podcast about chairs? Well, it's about a lot of different things. So it's about like Eames chairs and the Navy chair. I think it was Essico. So that's, interesting topics all throughout that podcast.
I'm a little behind on that, but you're making me feel like I need to go back and listen to it now.
Yeah, you really do. There's some really good ones. So just want to give a couple of shout outs. The Super License F1 podcast, Rod and Zach. If you love Formula E, there's a good chance that you love Formula One, and so they're a good listen, as well as the Pit Lane podcast. So go and check those two out. And we also, Nath, have our first patron from Patreon.
Yeah.
It is another Formula E podcast. Pod Bros E Pre-Talk, John and Tom. So, special shout out to you guys. Thank you so much.
Cheers, John. Cheers, Tom.
Thanks. And if you want to support us, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/regenracing. So, brilliant. Really appreciate all the help.
Wonderful. Thanks, guys.
So, Nath, what are you listening to at the moment since you have limited time available?
Limited time. One of my favourite podcasts from all time is Song Exploder. It's quite a popular one, and essentially just taking songs apart, quite famous artists as well as a lot of indie artists, just really digging down into their songs, into the individual parts, and I don't know, kind of listen to music and those songs in a new light after hearing them all deconstructed and what goes into it. As well as I've recently got into the Cryptid Factor.
Okay, this sounds a bit interesting. What's that one?
The Cryptid Factor. It's it's started out a long time ago, but there's only 36 podcasts over the last 5 years or so. So it's quite spread out, but decently long podcast. But produced and hosted by Murray Hewitt, comedian of Flight of the Conchords fame, as well as a few other people. I'm not going to do it justice by describing it, but essentially just digging into historical mythical creatures, as well as other things. So the likes of the classic Loch Ness Monster to the Mongolian death worm. That sounds interesting. Check it out. It's worth a listen and worth the laugh.
Brilliant. I think I might have to binge that one on one of my long trips. Oh, do they have like griffins and those type of mythical creatures as well?
No, don't. It's serious here.
Oh, serious mythical creatures. Radio, brilliant. All right. Well, we'll get into the actual news now for Formula E,
Mm.
and this one's an interesting one.
Yeah.
This news broke from Autosport. They're calling it Hyperboost, or it's being called Hyperboost. Nath, this one, a speed boost on a certain area of track that is off the racing line,
Mhm.
and it's mandatory to be used twice in the race, and that'll give the driver a bit of a speed boost, which it's about a second a lap faster.
Yeah.
And they're kind of comparing it to Mario Kart or Crash Team Racing. So it's kind of, you get the star in Mario Kart, or you get the little mask in Crash Team Racing.
The Oogie Boogie Woogie Go.
I knew you were going to do that. Yeah, I used Komodo Joe and Pinstripe, but I did also use Crash. So what do you think of this one? Is this, I know we talked about a little bit about the tackiness of gimmicks in the racing. Is this something you'd enjoy, or you're not a fan?
Oh, it doesn't sound like something I would enjoy, Dean. It does come across a little bit gimmicky and a little bit bit tacky, but I'd be interested to see how it works.
Yep.
I hope that they've done some testing with multiple cars on a track and real life drivers to kind of get some feedback on how this would work and really flesh it out instead of just kind of committing to it, because it's different. It's very different.
Yeah, I think they're having to do something a bit different due to the fact there's no pit stops, or they're looking for something to replace it, or a different way of doing things. So
yeah, I can see that, because we've always both really enjoyed the pit stops and the fun and the excitement that comes from changing cars halfway through the race.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of it being a team sport without it actually, there's a driver in a car, but there's a team behind him that's, running
absolutely.
the numbers and, strategy of when to pit, when to change tires, what tires to change to, or there's none of that. So it's hopefully they bring something that works with the overall package of Formula E.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if just thinking out loud here, I wonder if it's off the racing line and that you're getting that 25 kilowatt boost. It's a significant boost, but it's not overwhelming. So if you're already off the racing line and then you're getting a bit of a boost, how much difference is that really going to make?
Yeah, I guess if you're catching up to someone, but the thing is mandatory use. So
true.
You're going to have to take that racing line. I don't know if they should. Well, I know it's probably not a good idea to have Joker laps like they have in the Rallycross or anything like that. We will see where that one goes, I'm sure.
Did you used to play Mario Kart? Or were you a Crash Team Racing kid? Kind of one or the other, aren't you?
I was a Crash Team Racing kid, yeah. Pinstripe, Komodo Joe, and Crash, yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, yourself?
It was always Crash Team Racing, but we never had it at home, so it was always at a friend's place type thing. So I never got too good at it, but it I know it was one of those classic childhood games.
Yeah, I was also Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bash, all those good party games.
I got together with some friends a few months ago, and just on an evening, and we ended up just playing Crash Team Racing on running off a little Raspberry Pi for a few hours with some Xbox controllers, and it was so much fun. There was only three of us, but I'm not sure what game mode it's called, but when you're all just in a battle in an arena.
Oh right, yeah, that was fun.
And man, two of us couldn't take down the host. It was ridiculous. It was so good.
You can get really good at that game if you got to master the drifting, and there's actually a lot to it to be really, really good.
Oh yeah, to be able to get the drift around the corner and jump into the drift at just the right time to get that boost off again. Yeah. I could never get that, but
it's a skill. It's a skill.
Yeah.
Write in if you played that or if you still play it. Interested to know if that's still a thing for parties. What do we got in the way of other news?
Yes, we got a few quotes from David Coulthard coming out recently about where he sees Formula E going and its relationship with Formula One. He, just to kind of summarize here, he quoted, "I think electric mobility is the future, so the Formula is the future, but of course Formula One is still the most famous racing series. Formula E, on the other hand, is the only category with electric cars, so I do not necessarily see them as competing against each other. It's just two pairs of shoes, but Formula One will inevitably come closer to Formula E or even become Formula E rather than the other way around."
Yeah.
So some really bold statements from David of where he sees Formula One and Formula E going and their interaction between each other.
Right. I really enjoyed him in the commentary booth in Berlin. It's cool that, he thinks Formula E has merit and that it may even, swallow Formula One and become the one formula, or what's he saying? He's saying, yeah.
He's saying he thinks Formula One will come close to Formula E or even become Formula E rather than the other way around. So he actually sees Formula One taking over the Formula E space rather than Formula E getting big enough. Which I completely read that wrong on the first time I read through that. Yeah, no, that's I suppose we're already starting to see that in Formula One, aren't we? With the Regen braking and some of the hybrid components coming into the new cars.
Yeah, and I think it's I don't think they're going to change it for 2021. I think it is still going to be hybrid engines. So it's I think they're stuck on that for now. But yeah, inevitably it could get closer for sure. So I do think that has a bit of merit. Yeah. No, it's it'd be good to see David back in the commentary booth. Interesting way of putting things, and he was really excited. Some bits he didn't even know what to say, so I think it had him a bit flabbergasted.
Have we seen him in a Formula E car yet, even just for a hot lap?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's probably going to happen though. Surely.
It'd be a great one for a season 5 show off, wouldn't it? Showing off the new Gen 2 car.
Well, the iPace E-Trophy, there's going to be a VIP car. Did you read about this one?
No, I didn't.
Right. So there's going to be, I think it's just the one VIP car, and they have to have an international C license, and they can race with the rest of the cars. So I think there's going to be 2 groups of the gold and silver drivers, and then the bronze drivers have a separate championship. Yeah. So there's lots of interesting stuff going on around that one. I'm looking forward to see, Freddie Prinze Jr., Will Smith, someone interesting in that
Mr.
car.
Bean.
Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson. Well, actually, Rowan Atkinson, he, gets picked up for drink driving and probably doesn't have a license at this point. But
there's been a few historic crashes there, but well, I suppose could see. I'm only saying character names there because their real name just slipped in my mind. But Joey Tribbiani from Friends fame.
Oh, Matt LeBlanc, yeah,
that's the one. He's I know he's awesome. Pretty into his cars. So,
well, he's hosting Top Gear, so you never know.
He's just left.
Oh, is he? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I'm not up to the play on this one. All right. So, the second seat with Venturi. So, Massa's done a 800-kilometre test with Venturi, so that'll put him in good stead. Venturi's done some early development with the Gen 2 car in Monteblanco and Calafat in the last group test sessions, but they were done with development drivers Tom Dillman and Michael Ben-Yahia. So, Dillman replaced Mortara for the recent Formula E round in Berlin, but and he did a good job.
Yeah, respectable. For he hasn't had too much race time in Formula E, so qualified 12th, finished 13th, just outside the points. No, certainly held his own.
Yeah, he was fighting with a few other cars, so I think he was running 10th, late in the race. So he could have picked up a point, which that would be awesome for him to just come in, just come in on the off chance and pick up some points for the team. So, yeah, really good from him. Also, Arthur Leclerc, 2018 French Formula 4 racer And, of course, the younger brother of current Sauber F1 driver Charles Leclerc is a member of the Venturi Next Gen Young Electronic Driver Program. And he was also given some mileage in the test car, in the Gen 2 car.
So there's a few names in Venturi's camp who have got a bit of experience in that Gen 2 car. So it'll be interesting to see who they put forward next season.
Yeah, they'll need someone to, show Massa the ropes. I think it's not going to be a two rookies in Venturi sort of deal. I think there's going to be someone in there that knows, what's happening in the formula. I mean, it could well be that Mauro Engel or Mortara come back in.
I think I'm going to put an early prediction here. I think Massa will be doing the bulk of that in that second seat, but I think we might see a few of these younger faces popping up for the odd race.
Right. So you don't think that Massa will do the whole season?
I think he'll do the majority of the season.
Right. Yeah, I think he'll do everything. I think I think he's just going to commit fully, and that'll be his seat.
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah. So let's have a little preview for the next race in Formula E, Zurich.
Brilliant, brand new circuit.
Yes. So bit of history here. It's the first race in Switzerland in 63 years.
63 years.
Yes. So there was a Le Mans disaster in 1955, which effectively caused the ban of motor racing in Switzerland. In the last 10 years or so, there was an amendment which allowed electric racing.
Oh, wow.
Was what I read. But I should just check that if it was just electric or anything.
Because they have been allowed time trial formats, like, I don't know, like Pikes Peak hill climb sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting. Brilliant.
Yes. So first race amendment in 2015 to allow electric motor racing. So perfect, really, for Formula E.
Good timing.
And a great spot to have it. The circuit's looking fantastic beside the lake there.
It does. It does look very cool with the marina.
Yeah.
So, I guess we should talk about predictions.
Yeah. So what's your predictions for pole and then for the win, Dean?
For pole, I'm going to go with Buemi. I think as his home track, he'll be right on the pace from the get go, and I think he's we've been hearing that he's excited and that he hopes that this race will continue past this year and it will stay on the calendar. So I think he's ready to get stuck in. So I think he's just going to get pole, but I'm going to go for Degrassi for the win. I think the Audi car has just got too much, and there's a couple of long straights, so it's prime territory for Daniel and Degrassi. How about yourself?
Well, I'm struggling to differentiate between pole and the win, but I think Daniel Abt, after his phenomenal performance in Berlin, he's got to be coming into this race pretty hot. So I think he will. He's my prediction for pole, and Sam Bird has been fighting the whole way, and so I think he might take out the win. Right,
you're not bothered that the Virgin racing car's not quite at the standard it was last year?
Well, you say that, but he's got the points to back it up. The car might not be performing, but Sam Bird certainly seems to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll be interested to see how we can, pull that car through the field.
I suppose that's why I think he's not my prediction for the pole, just because of that sheer car speed. Yep. But when it comes to race pace and in the thick of it, I think he's got some sharp elbows.
Yeah, he's sharp elbows. Yeah, he's definitely got the racing technique. He'll certainly get his elbows out, his sharp elbows, for sure. So, the EPCS, the Electric Production Car Series. Have we got any news there, Nath?
Yes. The Electric Production Car Series news ream keeps on printing off new editions. This time in the form of karting.
I did see something about this that they would be doing similar to what the E-Trophy's doing. They have karting on these racetracks before the EPCS Tesla racing?
Yes, so the EPCS Carnival keeps on growing. So starting next year when it all kicks off, a grid of 20 young challengers will race lightweight 3.2 kilowatts, so that's about 50 horsepower karts. And they're going to have two categories. It's going to be a teenagers, which will be 13 to 15-year-olds, and then a plus 15 category. So it's more of a, well, I suppose a development series really into getting drivers into that, competing to get a new seat in the Tesla Model S and the real deal.
That's a great idea. I think that's really cool. I did see a picture somewhere of a mini Pirelli tyre on the go-kart. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I suppose the karts from the outside look very similar to your classic petrol-driven go-kart. Same form factor, and so it'll be really interesting to watch and listen to those go around the track.
Yeah, it's also something else that will contribute to the excitement and another series to keep your eyeballs on when you're at the events.
Yeah. These with all the little separate sub events that are going on around the electric production car series, it's going to be a real weekend, a real exciting race day,
a real carnival.
Lots of different things happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there was something else, wasn't there? The Virgil. This is an interesting one actually as well. Something else on the calendar, and they call it a groundbreaking new racing format that will see contenders hit a racing simulator to commence the race, but conclude it on a real racetrack. So, thoughts on this one, or again, an idea that possibly tacky?
Well, I don't want to throw the tacky patch around. Each to their own. I know there's a lot of really good simulators being worked on. I know the individual Formula E teams have their own simulators which they're practicing on before every race and working on their management strategies. Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I know early on in Formula E there was a bit of a simulator type battle, and then taking it to the racetrack. So yeah, we'll wait and see.
All right, that will be interesting to see how they fix this one. That they can do 20 or so laps in a simulator, jump out of the simulator, belt in a real car, and go for another 20 or however many. It'd be interesting.
This might satisfy our desires to have that car changeover in the middle of the race. That will be we're missing from Formula E. This might be it. This might be where it's all coming to.
That's a good point. Is if you want to hit that car swap, then electric GT EPCS has got you covered. You heard it here first. I think we probably should wrap it up after that. Can't even talk properly now. Thanks everyone for listening. If you would please put a racing in review in Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, it would be great. We'd really appreciate that to get up the charts and get in more people's ears. You can also send your feedback to hello@regenracing.com. And what are we on the Twitters?
At Regen Racing.
At Regen Racing on the Twitters. Brilliant. Well, thank you, Nath. It's been awesome chatting to you. Yeah, there was a bit of news there. We didn't think there was, but got through a wee bit.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's news coming out constantly this time of year. So a couple of weeks' time after the Zurich race, we'll have a rundown of that and whichever news has been released then. So we look forward to chatting with you then.
See you later.